Hey guys, welcome to Binary Bunny TV. Today, we'll be looking at the new event that's currently live, and I think it still has a couple of hours to go at the time of this recording. We were hoping that we could have released this video yesterday, but we just got busy with other things, so I recorded some footage and my buddy and I worked on the editing, just something basic. The main thing that we'd like to talk about today is the game balance, but before then, I'd like to talk about this new event just briefly. I think that the developers did not really listen to the feedback from the previous comments that people made, and they even have a survey, but I think the survey is for the next time they have an event, so there's that. But all I wanted to say is that the current event is pretty much the same as the previous one, with all its flaws. There's an annoying thing that I noticed, which has to do with panthers. Enemy panthers sometimes get stuck in the textures and they cannot be attacked easily, so it counts down on the timer. And if you're using panthers to attack, which I do not advise unless you have a really good hybrid setup like with panthers and something else, if you use all-out panthers, you might be susceptible to this bug. And what happens is that sometimes the attacking panther will just get stuck. And again, in this Conquest thing, in this Conquest event, timing is everything. If you spend 5 extra seconds just attacking nothing, it's gonna go against you. The more panthers that get bugged like this, the more it goes against you. So I just hope that they can finally fix this thing. I mean, there's a problem with goliaths walking off the map, but luckily that does not happen as often anymore. It still happens, I think, but it used to happen all the time previously, and now it's a little bit better. The reason why I say that developers have not learned anything and just pretty much brought a copy-paste of the previous event has to do with the time it takes for you to get your portal stones, or at least the numbers required to enter a battle, is the same. It's something that people complain about, that how can they progress with such long waiting times. Nothing was done about it. And the other thing has to do with the rewards. The previous Chinese guy, warlord, I think Lubu, he's okay, he's decent, so especially the relics, they're okay, nothing too spectacular. But now they bring back 2 titans that a lot of people who will be able to finish the event already have. It's not a good economic move, because players, most of the guys who can finish this with the money already have at least one or both of these titans, so they're gonna be less motivated to do it. The guys who really want to do it do not have the money to throw the game to get that far. So I don't know what the developers were going for. It just seems like they wanted to do something to make it seem like they've been listening to feedback. But again, that's just our opinion here at Binary Bunny TV. Okay, so in this event, what I did was, like the first couple of matches, I wanted to try out my new Titan and see if I could level him up using it, but the XP is just too low to bother, so I just went back to using Ethalus. That's pretty much the only attacking Titan that I have. And I go with all pikes, and I try to make sure that I get the spells needed for the map that I'm on. So there are some maps that have a lot of trees, so make sure you have at least 2 fireball, and that helps clear the grenadiers which might be hiding in the woods. So that is something that I do. And then there are some maps which are all open. You do not need fireball for that, even when there are some grenadiers. Well, I'd like to correct myself and say that if you're using a build where the talents, the skills that you have do not provide fire resist for your army, then you'd like to go with a lot of, fireball, poison, something that can take the grenadiers out quickly. But if you have a little bit of fire resist, some armor, then when it's completely open space, you do not need fireball for that at all. All you need is maybe some shield and rage spell. Rage is really good. You don't need all rage. Again, it depends on your skills, so that's something that you have to pay attention to. If you are going with an ice berserker which is stuck with damage, then you should not waste any time taking rage spells. You should just stack up on shield and free spells all day. So if you're going with a guardian and your damage is not that high, then do not take any shield, just go with all rage. So again, pay attention to the skills that you have and select the right spells that will help you. And there's something that I wish that they had done is, based on how quickly you're able to complete the event, complete the battle, you should get some better rewards so that it adds an extra factor to the event. Basically, if you complete an event, if you complete a battle in 1 minute you get the same random chance at anything as if you take the whole 5 minutes or something. And I think that they can change that in order to make it more interesting, rewarding. At the end of the day, gaming is all about having some kind of reward mechanic so that people feel rewarded. Duh, yeah. So this event, I'm not impressed. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but hopefully they actually pay attention to the feedback and can do something better. I think they really need to bring people who are good at game balance into it, whether it's a consultant or someone they hire, because someone pointed out something on the Reddit thread about how probably less than 2% of people who have downloaded the game are still playing. That's shocking, and if it wasn't for so much things available to be purchased by those 2% that are still playing, I think the game will be out of business by now. I remember reading somewhere about half a year ago that Zynga wanted to pull out on Dawn of Titans, and I'm surprised that they didn't, and instead it seems like they actually put in more funding. So I don't know, the game is not going to sustain itself in this way. It just isn't. Eventually even the hardcore players who still pay for every event are gonna quit because the game balance is out of whack. The reward ratio is not a really good incentive, so they really need to pay attention to things like that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is Kronos. You see, Kronos is a titan that is a clear example of game-breaking changes which are done on the whim without any thought or any perspective. Kronos was a titan that was brought into the game shortly after a needed Goliath buff had been implemented. Okay, so now let me take you back to about 2 years ago. Goliaths were very good. In fact, so good, Goliaths without any kind of buffs were better than some titans with slight buffs. Now at that time, getting a 4-star relic was so rare that it was very difficult to stack up the damage numbers in order to bypass all the armor and the health that Goliaths had. So they were pretty durable. And this was okay because they were very slow. They had to walk all the way to the target. Now they have slightly increased their movement speed, but nothing dramatic. And they have increased their health, which is okay, nothing dramatic. Then they introduce a titan, which increases their health even more. So at this point, it's sort of overkill, but wait, there's more. They remove the need for Goliaths to have to walk all the way to their target, and now they can simply teleport. So the mechanic that offset durability with slow movement speed is completely broken. And then to make it worse, they also increase the durability, which doesn't make sense. I mean, if you're going to take away mobility and make it completely instant travel, then you have to reduce durability. That's how game balance works, but the developers did the opposite. They removed the weakness of being slow, and then they increased the advantage of being durable. So now there are some people who say that, oh come on, you can still defeat Kronos if you have this titan, if you have all these rare relics and spend so much money and time in the game. Just because it's possible does not take away the fact that that is poor game balance. And then they do the same thing again. They realize that, okay, there's so many complaints about how Kronos is overpowered, so we're gonna bring in Zeus, and Zeus will have more durable targets so that teleporting Goliath is not gonna be a problem. And that is what they just keep doing. And so after you invest some amount of money and time into the game, you're gonna get frustrated and you're gonna stop. And less than 2% of people that downloaded the game are still playing. So it should tell you that they are actually doing something wrong. It's mind-blowing, really, that more people do not talk about it, but maybe it's because fewer gamers are interested in game mechanics. Like, they know when something is wrong, but they just cannot quite put their finger on it. I don't know, maybe we're just overreacting. Just let us know, do you think titans like Kronos are completely balanced and there's no problem? Or do you think that we have a point and the developers need to change how things are done? Make things more balanced and even? Find ways to raise money without making the game completely at the footstool of those who just have the money to afford it? Just let us know in the comment section below. Now, one other strategy that I'd like to add is it's really good to know what kind of map that you're going onto, like know where things are gonna spawn and the distances needed. Like if you watch what I'm doing, one thing that I do is I make sure that I have like 2 main groups of pikes, and this makes it very easy for me to complete everything. Sometimes I'm able to finish a level with a few seconds or minutes to spare. And I saw in the comment section that people are averaging about 2,000, 3,000. And sometimes I can get as high as 5,000, but that's with a relic. Without a relic, definitely more than 3,000. That's because I'm able to go through the whole thing, at least up until the level that I am at. And the main strategy that's helping me is making sure that I divide my troops in order to minimize the distance to cover. So you see, that it comes back to the thing I was talking about with Kronos. When you're able to cover distances quicker, it's a real advantage. So when you do that to a target that is supposed to be very durable, it's a huge buff. So I want you to try it if you're using pikes or grenadiers or something that is not panthers. And I mean, even if you're using panthers, it might be necessary to divide your troops so that when things spawn at the closer to one group, that group goes for it and helps you finish up quicker. And as always, thanks for watching.